Shalom, brothers and sisters. Shalom. Giving honor unto the Most High, the Creator and the Maker of heaven and earth. My name is Yeshaya Yisrael of the tribe of Dan of the nation of Israel. This particular presentation, we do not intend for this to be very long. Nonetheless, we do intend to get into the Hebrew matter regarding, brothers and sisters, the book of Leviticus chapter 6. And we're going to go over 10 slides, going over the matter with, say, verbs, nouns, identification of such, and things of that nature. So, brothers and sisters, without any further ado, I ask that people get their pens, their pads, and so that way we can get into this particular matter, if we will. All right, so let's do this right here in the matter of, say, the screen share, if we will. All right. All right, took that part out. Again, thanking the creator of heaven and earth. We're going to get into this presentation. We do not intend for it to be long, but we do intend for it to be insightful. I am open for constructive criticism, and I am open, brothers and sisters, for those who are interested. Leave a comment. My number is there, 908-587-4841. All right? So, brothers and sisters, let us get into this and make a move from there. Get your pens, your pads, your papers, and so forth. All right. Torat Rabah. Thank you very much. Shalom. Giving honor to the creator of heaven and earth. Welcome to the channel. Please subscribe. The presentation today is based on Leviticus 6 and the Hebrew therein. While we will not go over every part of the chapter, we do want to point out some matters of verbs, nouns, prefixes, and suffixes. All right? Please get your pens, paper, pads, and take notes. Shalom. Presentation. Hebrew in Leviticus 6. Now, this was supposed to have been at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, but with one matter going on with another, I wanted to tidy up a little bit regarding the matter of the presentation and make it more concise. So it's an hour off in time as far as that particular case. Nonetheless, I do appreciate the brothers and sisters, the elders, and anyone else included who decided to take out the time to want to even sit there and listen to such things. All right. Now, let us go on to the next slide. Thank you. The word labash. The English says the following, and we're going to follow it, brothers and sisters, with the laser pointer. And it says this: and the priest shall put on his linen garment, and his linen breeches shall he put upon his flesh. And he shall take up the ashes whereto the fire hath consumed the burnt offering on the altar, and he shall put them aside, and he shall put them beside the altar. So let's look at this, brothers and sisters, from the Hebraic aspect. Walabash hakohen, mido bad, umik nese bad yilbash al besaro, wa herim et hadeshen asher tokal haesh, et haola al hamizbeach, wa Samo etzel hamizbeach. So let us point out some things, brothers and sisters. Now, the matter of the word labash, that is the word, and we're going to show this, brothers and sisters, with this said highlighter. All right, we're going to highlight that within a different color, if we will. This blue's light blue. Well, won't be using that kind of blue whatsoever. It's probably due to the other matter on it being red. So what we'll do is we'll pin it, if we will. And we'll show it as so, being circled. All right, now, lamed bet sheen labash. That means to wear or to put on. So now when we see here in this part here in English, and we see put on, this is talking about the aspect of, in this case, clothes. All right. Walabasha kohen. And the priest he shall wear, and the priest he shall put on. Now, we already discussed in previous lessons about the thing known as the waw consecutive or the waw hakipuk. And in that particular case, this word labash normally is the past tense, but due to the waw in the beginning of it, all right, and we want to show what we're talking about verbatim, all right, and we want to circle that waw here that I'm emphasizing on here, and that means it now is put, say, into its future tense. So in biblical Hebrew, you have the thing where a normal past tense word is put in the future and a normal future tense word is put in the past by the prefix of the waw there in the beginning of said word. So this is something we want to point out for edification purposes. In Hebrew, unlike English, you will see in English and the priest. Those are three different words. All right. In Hebrew, it is said as wa labash. The word and is connected to the verb or the noun, depending upon what verb or noun is connected to. So it and is not wa labash, it's wa labash. It's one word. The and is connected to, in this case, the verb. In certain cases, the and is connected to the noun. So these are just things we want to emphasize and point out for edification purposes, if we will. All right. So let us go on. Walabasha kohen mido bad. Umik nese bad. Now, the word bad, as we see here being circled in the blue, brothers and sisters, is the word linen, like the garment that is of linen, like the material itself. All right. So now you have it to where the priest would wear linen because it doesn't produce sweat. You see that also in Ezekiel 44, if I remember right. Now, looking at this here, umik nese, I want to emphasize on this word a little bit, if we will, right? We have the word here, kanas, the kaf, the noon, and the samek. So let me, brothers and sisters, if I may, I want to circle with the pen this particular word here. This word here, without the verbs, is just the word kanas. It comes from its own root, brothers and sisters, meaning to enter. All right. So this is just something we want to point out for edification purposes. The word kanas in that particular realm. Right. Now, this mem that we see in the beginning, brothers and sisters, serves in this way. Say, we're going to use the pen again, and we want to circle this one in the yellow. That mem that you just see circled, brothers and sisters, serves as a matter of a prefix. Now, in Hebrew, you can get from a verb to a noun by adding the letter mem as a prefix. So now the word kanas, meaning to enter, E-N-T-E-R. I want to type this inside of the room, if we will. All right. You have kanas, meaning to enter. This is the closest example you would see of what we today call pants as far as garments are concerned. Because what it's saying is miknase, meaning that which one inches through, because you put your legs through it. And that is what you're entering through. So this is just something to be pointed out for reasonable purposes. Umik nase. Now, let us point something out again regarding Hebrew in this matter, if we will. Thank you for the time, brothers and sisters. All right. Now, let's look at this here. You have, brothers and sisters, going back to the uses of the pen. This u means and. Right? Now, remember, it's already joined to the word. So it's not like u or wa and then the word. In Hebrew, what is said as and in English is joined to the noun. In this case, the noun. Also, in this case here that I'm going to circle, it was a verb. So you would say, for instance, the word for man is ish. So you would say wa ish, meaning and a man. You would not, brothers and sisters, say wa and then leave a space in speech and then say ish. So that's something we want to point out. Whereas in English, it's and a man. Two separate words. And is one word, man is another. In Hebrew, if you're saying and a man, it is one word, wa ish. All right. So this is just what we want to emphasize that on with grammar in that particular case. Another thing to be pointed out, and we're going to use the pen with this, if you will, in the black, this yod that you see there being circled, right? That letter right there, the yod. What that shows in this particular noun, as in other nouns, the yod shows, it is, brothers and sisters, the pluralization of the noun. Case in point, yom is day. Yamim means days. Yemei means days of. So we just want to point that out, say, brothers and sisters, for reasonable purposes and for edification matters. So what I'm going to do with my notification that I just got is this. Give me 1 second, please. We're going to plug in the extension so that way the phone that's being shown with the comments can continue to be seen. Bear with me just 1 second. Thank you, brothers and sisters and elders and so forth. All right. So as you know, these are done for free. The classes, the Hebrew classes, certainly on the Shabbat, it is done for free. But also, if there's any classes online, it is done for free as well, regarding the said language. And brothers and sisters, in looking at it, say in this particular case, let us go over some of this grammar again. Wulaba shakohen. Now, remember, this is a verb in this normal past tense, but due to the prefix of the waw, all right, in biblical Hebrew, that past tense turns into a future tense. Walabash ha-kohen. Ha is the definite article showing a specific the. Kohen, priest, from the Hebrew root word kihen, which means to minister. Mido. All right. Bad. Of him, that which is of his linen vestments. The linen that is of his vestments that's of linen. Umiknase, and the breeches of Bad. And brothers and sisters, the breeches is an old term for shorts, which some can say, or short pants, if we will. All right. Yilbash al basaro. Yilbash. And we want to emphasize on this word as well. Now, the word yilbash we see here, that lamed, that bet, and that sheen, right? If we will, brothers and sisters, it is the same word root that we see in this particular case. All right? He will wear, he will put on al basaro. Now, let us erase this and then show something with more clarity, if we will. All right? Now, this resh here, followed by the waw with the O sound. Remember last week when we went over Leviticus 1, you would have Yado, his hand. You would have Mishpakto, his family. In this case here is Basaro. Basar, brothers and sisters, is a noun. The word Basar means flesh. So Basaro means his flesh. All right? Kippah is hat. Kippato is his hat. if we will, brothers and sisters. All right. We have, say, for instance, here, right? Give an example, if we will, not trying to be funny or nothing like that. Right here, a book. Sefer. Sifro would be his book. By having the aspect of the O at the end of a noun makes it his whatever, but in a aspect that the noun is still treated as singular. All right. So again, to those who are listening, please like, share the video. Let me know what you think in the comments, as we can see here. All right. And I'm going to type in something here. Shalom, Lakol. All right. Peace to all. All right. So let us continue on. All right. We're going to go on to the next slide to show why we emphasizing on Labash. All right. Let us use, if we will, laser pointer. Notes. The word labash means to wear. This word is considered a regular verb in that it is not a lamed hey or pay noon verb. Now, we're going to go over, as we go on this presentation, what, brothers and sisters, is a lamed hey verb. All right. Now, let's look at these notes here. Labash. This is the root word itself, labash. This, like any other root word that is a verb, is in the third person masculine singular. He, whatever the verb is. So let's look at this right here. So can somebody at the sound of the voice just type in an English verb? Remember, a verb is an action word. So please, just somebody, if you care to, just type in any verb in English so I can explain what I mean when I say he, whatever the verb is, please. Thank you. To the people who are in the chat, just type in any verb so we can explain what we're talking about in this for edification purposes. Thank you. Okay, I'll type in the verb. The word wash in Hebrew, brothers and sisters, is the word rakas. The word rakats means to wash. All right. Okay, somebody typed in the word work. Okay, the word for work is abad. All right. The word abad means to work. Pa'al also means to work, but we're going to deal with that one right there. Now, in this particular case, it begins with the letter ayin, bet, and dalit. Now, that is not, and I want to state this in due respect, treated in the same present, past, and future tense as, say, the word rakat is wash or the word labash is this. But we're going to, and I thank you, sister, for typing in that word there. Now, speak is dabar. Dabar is how you say speak. And that is treated with the same way as rakat, as in wash and labash in that case. So now let's look at this. If we were to exit out this real quick, so that way we can go over this particular matter, right? Let's look at this real quick. All right. We have, brothers and sisters, and I thank you all for the time with that. Let's look at this here, right? want to show examples of what we're going over and what we're talking about. Okay, so now let's look at this right here. The word that was used last was the word speak, which in Hebrew, brothers and sisters, is the word dabar. So let's look at this real quick. Wait for that to come up. You have Dalit, you have Bet and Resh, right? So now let's go back to this part right here, right? Now, you can see it in what they call quote real time. Dabar means to speak, all right? And we're going to add this into the dictionary, all right? So now, by adding the letter yod to the word dabar, right? And we want to emphasize that right there, right? So you have dabar still there, its root, right? Now, this is the root and also means he spoke, because the root of something in Hebrew is always treated from its past tense. And this is what we were saying just right here when it says he, whatever the verb is. So in this case, it's the word speak, dabar. All right. Now let's go back here, if we will, and deal with the other one or the other word that was used. So let's pull this up. Thank you again for the time so people can see what we're dealing with, right? You have here the word abad, which is ayin and bet, and we have abad. Now let's see what this translation says, because I'm saying it means work. Oh, it means slave in that? No. Actually, if you look at it from a verb aspect, brothers and sisters, it means one who works. All right. But in Hebraic thought, servant and slave is the actual same word. What happened with our people in the Western Hemisphere was called chattel enslavement. That's a whole other aspect. Now, looking at it in this case here, right? Let's look at this here. We have here the word abad. Abad means en route to work. Now, it also means, brothers and sisters, he worked. All right. Now, brothers and sisters, I want to add the letter yod to this word dabar. So now we can hopefully get a clear meaning of why I posted that or made that example. Right? Let's look at this right here, if we will, brothers and sisters. You have now this here says yedaber, meaning speak, or he will speak, right? So now let's look at this here. Copy, going back into the PowerPoint matter. You have here, brothers and sisters, this word here, yid bar, means he will speak. Now, some people may be watching and thinking or saying that speak is usually a PL verb stem, like midaber, yedaber, dibarati. But you see in biblical Hebrew in the book of Zechariah, where the word dabar, meaning to speak, is used in a qual stem, for those who know where I'm going from in that particular case. So I just wanted to show this real quick, how one, Hebrew is easy, how to identify by the prefix of something what's going on. Now, one of the things we want to emphasize on in this case is the part here that says he, whatever the verb is. All right. So this is the root word itself, labash. So had it been abad rakats, rakats meaning to wash, dabar meaning to speak. You have the word, brothers and sisters, quara meaning to read. Whatever that is, when you deal with this root, is also in a third person masculine singular. So this third person masculine is he, whatever it is. So that's what we want to point out. Now we have here the word yilbash. If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to type it in. I'm able to see the comments as well as go over the PowerPoint at the same time. All right. Yilbash. This word, all right, means he will wear. In Hebrew, the future tense's gender is noted in the prefix. Now, brothers and sisters, let's look at this word right here. All right. Let's look at this right here, brothers and sisters, right? And we're going to copy, go to this one right here. Take this because I wanted to show this in real time as the saying goes. All right. Thank you for the time and the patience with such. Let's go back over here and look this word up from this point here. All right, copy. Go to this one right here. Paste. Okay, that's trying to give me a little hard time. So we're going to go to the other way to get that word put up. All right, let's look at this, brothers and sisters, in this case here. All right, you have all righty. Let's look at this word here from this angle. And go back to the PowerPoint because I want to show this as speaking upon this as real time. And I want to say to the people in the room, Imantamikia, Camilla Yisrael, and Captain Yehu Ben Lewi, Shalom Lakim, Mosai, bless. Thank you for joining on into the lesson. And let us get into this particular matter, if we will. All right. This word here, Yilbash, showing it again in real time, right? Copy and paste didn't want to work with a brother. All right, so let's go back. Sorry about that, family. Let's go back. Look at this word here again, and then redo it. Yilbash. All right. Thank you. So now let us look at this right here, right? You have here this letter Yod, and we want to show this, if we will, right? In the red. That letter Yod, it becomes very important because just like the Yod that we see here, brothers and sisters, it shows, brothers and sisters, the future tense aspect in masculine. Now, we're going to emphasize upon this for a particular reason and let us move on. Now, this word here means he will wear, he will put on. Now, this is speaking, obviously, say in most cases as garments. All right. So just want to point that out in that particular case. All right. Now, if there's any questions about this, because we're going to review it before we close out, please feel free to type it inside of the comments. Thank you for that, brothers and sisters. All right, let's go on, if we will, to the next slide. The matter of beged. And he shall put off his garments and put on other garments and carry forth the ashes without the camp unto a clean place. So let's look at this here in the Hebrew. And we want to, brothers and sisters, go back here to and let us do this with the laser pointer in the Hebrew. And it says this, brothers and sisters. Upashat et begadayu, walabash begadim akerim, wahotzi et hadeshen el mikut lamakane, el makom tahor. So now, looking at it in this case, it says in the English, right? And he shall put off his garments and put on other garments and carry forth the ashes without the camp unto a clean place. Now, we want to, brothers and sisters, all right? Let us, if we will, if we can, pin, and we want to emphasize on this word, begadil, begadim. Now, remember the word labash means to put on, right? So now, using what is considered context clues, the word beged, meaning garment, is not that far-fetched to be in that same circumference of words. Now, it says here, and he shall put off his garments. So now, let us look. We have here pashat, pe shin tet. He shall put off, or he put off. But remember, we keep saying in biblical Hebrew, by having that prefix of the waw consecutive, the waw hakipuk, and so forth, it turns, in this case, as in other cases, this normal past tense word, pashat, into a future tense. This is why you see in the English the word shall. Sorry about that. That's why you see in English there the word shall. All right, so let us, brothers and sisters, look. We want to pin this again, if we will, so we can see what we're talking about for reference purposes. Pashat, he put off. Upashat, and he shall put off. Et begadayu, begadayu. Now you see this bet, this gamel, and this dalit? That is the verb meaning, pardon me, that is the noun, sorry. Noun meaning garment. That's why we see here in the English the word garment. All right? Walabash, and put on and wear. Now, let us remember, brothers and sisters, right? Just right here when it says, well, this red won't show like that, but I'm going to use a different color. Let's use yellow. All right? Walabash, right here. This wow making that past tense a future tense word. So now in the same root, knowing Hebrew goes by pattern, all right, you see the same word here, walabash. And so it says, and he shall put off his garments and put on. Or if you wanted to be pinpoint, and he shall put off his garments and he shall put on other garments. But it's already in the English making sense to show it in the future tense, so it continues as such. All right, so let's look at this. And it says, Upashat et begada walabash begadim akerim. Let us get into some grammar with this matter right here and discussing this real quick, right? Now, let us look, brothers and sisters, with the laser pointer. If beged, brothers and sisters, beged means garment. And therefore, begadim, its plural, means garments. Now, one thing we want to emphasize in the book that me and my lady wrote, and that is Hebrew for Couples, Part 3. is that this is not plural in Hebrew. This letter here, S, is the plural in English, not in Hebrew. So why do I say that now? Is because in Israel, you have people been saying akotis, my ox, their abbas, and trying to say it pluralized, but using the Hebrew word and adding on the English suffix of the letter S to make it plural, but such is not the case. That's not how Hebrew grammar works when you're pluralizing a word. The way you pluralize a masculine matter in many cases is by im as a suffix and a feminine as ot as a suffix. So these are things we just want to point out for reasonable purposes, right? Upashat, and he shall put off et begadal, his garments, walabash, and he shall put on begadim akerim. So if beged is garments, you wouldn't say things such as his begeds. You would say begadim. So this is something we just want to point out for reasonable purposes. Next slide, please. Now here, let's look at this. Beged and begadim, right? The word beged in Hebrew means garment. This is a noun. The word bagad in Hebrew means to deal treacherously. This is a verb. All right. This verb, bagad, like labash, is what is called a regular verb. So we just want to point that out for reasonable purposes. 1 second, family. All right. There we go. Sorry about that. Wanted to be as correct as possible. All right. So now the word treacherously by God. In other words, in being treated negatively or bad or evil or that which is not right. All right. The verb, and we want to emphasize this, if we will, with the laser pointer. All right. The verb by God, like labash, is what is called a regular verb. Now, when one was saying the word for work, which is the word abad, that is not treated in the same way as, quote, a regular verb. But we did want to go over and show and respect. And I do thank you for at least typing that in so we can have some communication back and forth with this as a presentation. All right. The word begadim means garments. This is a noun that is pluralized. The word begadail means his garments. In Hebrew, the item noun is shown in a personal matter by the suffix. What am I saying in this particular case? If you have here, brothers and sisters, the word beged, right? The word beged means garment. The word begadim, brothers and sisters, means garments. As we see pointed out here and beged here. So now, brothers and sisters, when we go back into seeing, all right, we want to erase this. No, we're not going to erase it. This word here, begadiah, and we want to, brothers and sisters, if we will, highlight that yod and that wow and that quamats under the dalit. And I'm going to circle it so we can see it very much more clearer as well. All right, I'm going to circle it. That Iowa that you see there, all right, that is taking the word beged and saying begadaiwa means his garments. Now, had it been child, yaled, it would have been yeladaiwa, etc., etc. So that's how that goes in that particular case. So beged is garment, begadim is garments, begadaiwa means his garments. So that way we can get grammar and showing a possession of a matter when it's a noun. All right. And again, this is shown, brothers and sisters, as the suffix. Yeled is child. Yeledim is children. Yeladaiwa means his children. So we can gain understanding and where we're going from in this particular case. All right. Let's go on, if you will, to the next slide. Thank you. All right. The matter of Yaquad and Kaaba. All right. Fire shall be kept burning upon the altar continually. It shall not go out. Now let's look at this, brothers and sisters, right? With the laser pointer. Ish tamid tukwad al hamizbeak. Lo tikbe. So what are we saying in this particular case? The word for fire is the word here, ish. Ish tamid. Now, let us look at this, brothers and sisters, for reasonable purposes. All right? What we are circling there, tamid, is what they translate here as continually. But tamid also would mean more so as always. All right? Continuously, continually, always, nonstop. That's what the word tamid means. So I'm going to type that in here. Tamid means always. All right. Now, ish means fire. All right. Means. So looking at that, ish, a fire, tamid, tuquad. Now let's look at this carefully, brothers and sisters, so we can gain understanding of what we're talking about. All right. And we want to highlight this in the blue. It looks green on there from my end, but I have picked blue. This word here, tuquad, we're going to talk about this a little extensive. All right. And then we're going to eventually close out. Ish tamid, a fire, always or continuously, tuquad al hamizbeak. We explained the word mizbeak last week from the word zabak, which means to slaughter, a verb, by putting a mem in front of it, as we see here. Brothers and sisters, all right? I'm going to call myself trying to write this. Yay. The letter mem there, right, makes that verb zabak into a noun. So zabak meaning to slay or slaughter. Mizbeak means altar, because on the altar is where things are slaughtered. All right? Lo tikbe. Now, the word tikbe, we want to emphasize on as well. And we want to, brothers and sisters, and when I was saying earlier, please get your pens, your pads, and your paper and take notes. We want to show this for reasonable purposes. I want to jump the gun a little bit from the presentation, if we will, and give a shout out to one of my main female morot in Yisrael in Hebrew, Gever Iman Tamikya, who I invited to be inside of there when I sent the link out to different people and so forth. When I was a child in Hashaba, not to get too sentimental about me and my childhood and everything like that. When I was a child in Hashaba at the age of 13, I remember Iman Tamikio going over the Hebrew and even showing things to my mother. May she rest in peace now, showing things to me and so forth and so on. So looking at it like that, why does that come into play with this is because, and we want to show why my mom went there just like that, is because of this letter here. Tau. Her name begins with the letter Tau, by the way. Tamik Yah, meaning Yah is my support or support one of Yah. from the word tamak, which means support. So now looking at it like this, you have tu quad and tikbe. So we're going to go over a particular matter and expound upon it. Let's go on, if you will, to the next slide. All right. And we want to use, if we will, brothers and sisters, the laser pointer. And it says the matter of yaquad and tuquad. The word yaquad is a verb meaning to be kindled, to burn. Now, looking at that, this is why you see here the word burning. All right, let's go back and say here. This verb is considered an irregular verb in that it starts with a yod letter. Any verb that starts with a yod letter is deemed a pay yod verb. No, this is not Yiddish. In this case, the yod drops when the verb is conjugated in the future tense. Now, we already familiar what conjugation is. That's when you take something and put it in the past, the present, or the future. It is conjugated in those aspects. All right. So now looking at it in this case, yaquad, brothers and sisters, and we want to, all right, if we will, show with the pen and circle the yod there. We also, brothers and sisters, want to, if we can, highlight the yod. So this yod right here, as in the verb yaquad, shows it to be a pay yod verb. So when you put that, brothers and sisters, inside of its future tense, the yod drops out. Now let's look at this, remembering it's a verb and remembering the kind of verb that it is. This goes on to say the word tuquad, sorry about that. Okay, the word tuquad, as we see here, right, is a verb that is in the hofal stem. This is something we hardly ever spoke about, even in the books that I wrote. This is treated as the passive of the hifil. The hifil is the causative of the qual stem. All right. The word yaquad is a qual stem verb. Now, somebody typed in the word for work, abad. That's a qual stem. Somebody typed in the word speak, dabar. That's a qual stem. So now when you start going into these other stems, such as saying the hifil, saying the hof al, brothers and sisters, we have to know that the pattern and the rules of Hebrew must be understood to gain understanding. What am I saying in this case here? Let's look back here and use the laser pointer. All right. The word yaquad is a verb meaning to be kindled, to burn. The word tuquad, a hofal. If you notice, brothers and sisters, this being a pay yod verb, as pointed out here, the word tuquad doesn't have a yod in it because it drops out in its future tense. What else can we gather, brothers and sisters, in the next note? Let's look. The meaning of tuquad is it shall be kindled, it shall be caused to burn. The letter tau in that word shows us that the object spoken is a feminine noun. Tau is a feminine letter in Hebrew, as in the letter hey is. All right, so remember before we spoke about Yid Bar, Ya'aseh, Yilbash, and so forth and so on, right? That yod, as we pointed out here, let's go back. This is why I'm saying follow along, get your pens, and so forth and so on. This yod here shows it in a masculine as the prefix there, if we will, right? Masculine singular, he, whatever the verb is. So now when we get, remember, follow along, please. When you get to the word tuquad, it begins with a tau. So that means it's she, whatever the verb is. So this is something we want to point out when you have the prefix of the letter yod and then the prefix of the letter tau, and how you can show what gender is being spoken of. This is how we know that Hebrew is easy. It's not difficult. Yes, different, but not difficult. So, brothers and sisters, with the time allotted, all right, let us go, okay, into this and let us take some more notes in this, all right? The identity of a future tense by a prefix, all right? The letter yod is used when showing the matter in a verb is a masculine he, whatever, sorry about that, the verb. All right, now we already have discussed, and we want to just show for reasonable purposes, right? This letter here, all right, looking at this here in this particular manner, right? Because I want to show this in real time for reasonable purposes. Thank you for the patience. This letter you see there, yod, right? That is what we're talking about. When that letter is in the beginning of a verb shown as a prefix, it means he, whatever. So abad means en route to work. So then you would have it to where it will be ya'abod, he will work. So now let us show this from the aspect of what we were just going over before. So that being a yod, this being, brothers and sisters, right? We have this letter here, if we will, right? Tau. And let's take some notes or make some notes. The letter shown here, tau, said as thou by some, is used as a prefix showing a verb in the feminine aspect. So it is she, whatever the verb is. All right, so now, ya'abor, he will work. Ta'abor means she will work. So now let us remember the aspect that a yod is used as a prefix and the letter tau is used as a prefix. All right. So that way we can gain some understanding of what we're talking about. The tau used as a prefix when dealing with verbs is showing the she, whatever, third person feminine. All right. The yod is showing the third person masculine, whatever that verb is. Speak, walk, talk, sing, stop, do, begin, end, etc. All right, whatever the verb is. So now remembering that, if we will, let's go back, if we will, here, right? The word to quad, I wanted to emphasize this, if we will. Thank you for the time, brothers and sisters. All right. And we want to go to the laser pointer. The word to quad, you see it begins with the letter tau. So we've already explained what that tau matter there that we see. It's a feminine matter. So what are we showing in the feminine is this word here, ish. Ish is a fire, and that's treated in the Hebraic aspect in the feminine. Aish or fire is not a masculine aspect in Hebrew. It's a feminine principle. All right. So sorry about that. Just want to go over that for reasonable purposes. So let us continue on back where we was with the word to quad. This is treated as the passive of the he filled, the whole file that is. All right. The he filled is the causative of the qual. The word yaquad is a qual stem verb. The meaning of to quad is it shall be kindled, it shall be caused to burn. So now let's look at this right here. Fire shall be kept burning upon an altar continually, it shall not go out. Now, Hebrew, it says right here, lo. No, pardon me, brothers and sisters. Jump the gun. That's the next verb. We're gonna go over kaba. But lo tik be, it shall not go out. But brothers and sisters, if you notice that tau is there, that tau is there, so it's still showing the thing that is being talked about continuously going on and never going out. The fire is treated in a feminine case. That's why that letter tau there is there. And this is why I wanted to go over, make another PowerPoint, type it in real time so we could begin to see how the rules in Hebrew work in this case. If there are any questions, please do not hesitate to ask. All right. I'm going to, please, again, subscribe to the channel. It will not be today, but in the future, I'm going to go over a mini lesson regarding the stems of the qual, the nif'al, the pl, the po'al, the hif'il, the hofal, and the hitpa'el. All right. So looking at it in that particular case, we're going to go over how to identify it in such, if we will. All right. Let's go on to the next slide. Next slide. All right. The matter of kaba and tikbe. The word kaba is a verb that means to be quenched, to be extinguished. All right. This verb is treated as an irregular verb in that it has a hey as the last letter, thus showing it as a lamed hey verb. Now, let us look, brothers and sisters, at that in this particular case. All right. This verb is treated as an irregular verb, and that hey is the last letter, thus showing it to be a lamed hey verb. Now, the hey that we're talking about, all right, in this particular case here, is shown here. That's kaf bet hey. Remember earlier when we was going over the matter here? Let's go back to the slide to show how the PowerPoint correlates with itself, right? The word labash is considered a regular verb, and that is not a lamed hey or penun verb. Now, let's look at this here. This is a lamed hey verb in that it ends with the letter hey. All right. Let's go on and continue in this particular case. The word tikbe, shown here, this is the tau that we keep on emphasizing on, its feminine matter, is a future tense word, means it shall be extinguished. We want to point out that the tau is a suffix in this case. I made another boo-boo. Sorry about that. It's not a suffix, brothers and sisters. It's a prefix. If I make a mistake, I don't mind checking myself. So be it. All right. So now is a prefix in this case. As in regular verbs in Hebrew, the identity of the gender of the object is known as a prefix. This occurring in the future tense. All right. So, brothers and sisters, with the number that's there, all right, we have it as 908 587 4841. All right. So we just want to point this out for reasonable purposes. That's my telephone number. You can get to me on WhatsApp. You can get to me on regular call. You can get to me by texting as well. All right. So, brothers and sisters, following the pattern that we have already seen. All right. Going back here, if we will. the highlighter with the letter tau, right? And then it's feminine aspect, all right, as the prefix there in this particular case, right? And then we have, brothers and sisters, we want to point out that the tau is a prefix in this case, all right? And it's already shown as the feminine. And fire H is treated as the feminine. That's why you see that tau there as such, all right? So let us continue in the conclusion of such. Thank you all for watching and sharing. This video is set to where one can leave a comment when the video is uploaded. I encourage people to pick their teacher. There are numerous Hebrew teachers in our community, male and female alike. I want to thank the Creator of heaven and earth for the teachers I had in Hebrew: More Yosef, More Tibak, Adon Aharon, More Hoshea, and More Mishael. May they rest in peace. I want to thank the Creator of heaven and earth for the teachers I have in Hebrew: More Yehotzedek, Ima Shoshana, Ima Tamekia, and Kohen Mikael. May their lives continue to be blessed. So this is just something I wanted to point out for reasonable purposes and for edification purposes. All right. Now, this is not going to be a sales thing on the Shabbat. Nonetheless, brothers and sisters, what we want to emphasize on, brothers and sisters, is that these classes are free. You can subscribe to the channel, watch the videos, let me know what you think. I am open to constructive criticism. Again, I apologize for starting a little after 2 Eastern Standard Time as opposed to 1 Eastern Standard Time, when I was trying to sit there and make the PowerPoint a bit more concise and so forth and so on. Again, my number is 908-587-4841. Now I'm going to, with the time allotted, all right, ask if there's any questions that anybody cares to ask. You can type it in regarding, say, the language itself, all right, that we've gone over, or in general. All right, please type in any questions that one may have. Now, let's look at this here, if we will, right? The lesson's concluded. I just want to go over something just real quick. All right. Now, the word shatah in Hebrew means to drink. All right. So now, if we look at that right there, you got sheen, you got tau, you got hey. All right. Shatah means to drink. That's in root. All right. So now let's look and take some notes. This is a lamed hey verb in that it ends in the letter hey. Okay. So now, how you know that shows it to be what they consider irregular is that the hey drops off in the past tense. So shata means also he drank. So if somebody were to say, just looking at me and what I did, right? When I held this and I did this, who shata, he drank. Okay. So I just wanted to go over and show that for reasonable purposes. All right. Now, this lesson is going to be uploaded. You can go over it in your own time if there's any questions or so forth and so on. All right. With that, I was asking online and I typed inside the thing. If there's any questions, please feel free to ask. All right. Giving a shout out to my lady, Sarah McKellar of the tribe of Judah. Giving due respect to my elder, Emora Imatamekia Bat Levi, Giving due respect to Liberation Tabernacle of Yah, due respect to Kamela Yisrael, due respect to Captain Yehu Ben Lewi, and due respect to Bathsheba. Okay, thank you all for leaving a comment inside of it. Again, my number is there. It will be in the description, 908-587-4841. For those who are interested, you can reach out via WhatsApp, or you can reach out by text or call. Okay, with that, Shalom, Most High bless.